Let's do this. Good morning, and welcome to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is the show where we talk about everything.
What the hell?
Well, almost. From today's news, culture, entertainment, real life, real people, and the stories everybody's talking about. And no, we don't do it in some tiny glass bubble. We do it the only way we know how. Real and completely unleashed.
Fire hole, fire hole, fire hole.
So lean in and let's go right now.
Give me a hell yeah. What? Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take.
You got to be willing, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Freedom Friday, July 10th, 2026. You've tuned into the Unleash Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. Look, we know here at this show, every day is freedom. But we like to tag Friday specifically with Freedom Friday. We got the Freedom hat on today, and it is Freedom Friday on a beautiful summer day, dead set middle of the summer. And thank y'all for joining us again. It is going to be unleashed, uninhibited, and unapologetic today on this Friday morning. If you see the feed on Facebook or any other social media, please share the live stream. Always appreciated. It's also right now on YouTube Live. If you're checking it out on YouTube, good morning. And if you're checking it out on any other social media, good morning to you. And then, of course, the podcast will be up after the broadcast. And that will be at all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart Radio, and so much more. Make sure that you tune into all of those as well. We just want to thank all of y'all again for joining. My name is Daryl Arnold. Also, we are live now. That's right. If you want to condense all this down to one, it is DarylArnold.us now. How about them apples? DarylArnold.us. DARRELL. DarylArnold.us. You can skip going through all the different links. You can also choose whatever podcast stream you want from DarylArnold.us. You can check out news stories, all of that good stuff, right at DarylArnold.us. How cool is that? That is up and live now. I appreciate all y'all holding tight with me to get all that going. It's taken a process, ladies and gentlemen. It's taken a process. But we're there now. Thanks to y'all waiting around. All right. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We will go ahead and put a big circle on a few of those sponsors right now. Cypress Point Resort, of course. Electrical Solutions and Services in Pearl, Mississippi and Central Mississippi. Mississippi Coding Academies, mscoding.org. Mobility Medical, Flowood Jackson, Mississippi, but they're nationwide at mobilitymedical.inc for all your supplies, etc., so on. They could even come to you as Mobile Mobility Medical. So check all that out. It is going great over there. Been around for well over 18, 20 years. So definitely check that out as well. We've been doing this radio show a long time, this podcast a long time. It is officially 6:39 a.m. Central Time. Hey, they're voting this coming week, supposedly. Allegedly, they're voting to keep the time. In other words, they're voting not to change the time every year. They're voting to keep it on where it is now, daylight savings time, to where it gets dark later. Let us know how you feel about that in the chat. Also, you can text me at 601-918-8409, 601-918-8409. And it is Freedom Friday. I have kept my mouth shut for a little bit over 300 days now. 300 days now. Have not talked about the court proceedings, the evidence, the Tyler Robinson, Lance, Luna Twigs, all of that crap. I just haven't. But I am now. Okay. Today we're going to dig deep into the Charlie Kirk trial. Actually, it's not a trial, the preliminary hearing. It seems like a damn trial, but it is a preliminary hearing that is very, very, very rich in evidence. I know a lot of people always want to jump to the automatic conspiracy because all of us, including me, we spend so much time on the social media and other aspects of getting prepared for our podcast and getting prepared for life in general. It's really confusing to, have reality back in there. Now, my opinion may not agree with your opinion, and that's okay. Doesn't mean I don't like you. But what I don't like is people depicting at victims such as Erica Kirk and her family, Charlie Kirk's parents. If you've ever been through a murder in your life with a family member, brother, uncle, sister, mother, husband, wife, it's really hard to explain. I've had that happen in my life, unfortunately. Okay, you never get over it at all. But I couldn't imagine, because this, of course, happened in my situation before Facebook and etc., Twitter and X, TikTok, and all that. But I could not imagine in my mind how horrible this would be for people like that, like Erica Kirk and the Kirk family, because they have been ridiculed, not just by the Candyland cult, Candace Owens, but a lot of people. A lot of people. And do I have opinions on the conspiracies? Of course I do. I am human. Everybody does. Everybody has opinions because we are human beings. And it's very normal to have an opinion on this Freedom Friday, and every other day is free. Yes, of course you have opinions. But when it comes to belligerent torture, basically, of families and Tyler Robinson, for first of all, has always been allegedly, still is allegedly, let me say that. But I have never seen so much evidence at this point in a preliminary hearing. It's not even a trial, to point out the fact that this young fella Tyler Robinson and his distorted boyfriend who thought at the time that he may be a girl as well. You know, I don't see any Egyptian planes, and I'm not trying to be funny. It's just that stuff's not there, okay? It's just not there. At some point, you have to realize that everything in life, every assassination, which, by the way, unfortunately, murders happen every day. And sometimes people who turn themselves in and they admit to it, sometimes they're not just patsies. Sometimes they're actually just, you know what? They're just telling the truth. They're just telling the truth. Um, do I believe every single thing I hear? Of course not. I mean, like I said, it's Freedom Friday. It's a free country. You know good and well we don't believe everything that we see here. It's ridiculous to think different. But this week, I have not missed a second of this. Okay. And again, this is only a preliminary hearing, which they only usually last like a day at the tops. The judge has been deciding all week, which is his job, whether prosecutors have presented enough evidence for the case to move to a trial. That's where we are. The accused, Tyler Robinson, has not been convicted, of course. This is still a preliminary. And prosecutors are going to be seeking the death penalty in the case if it proceeds to trial, or win, rather. Major highlights this week. Well, the biggest highlight was yesterday. Prosecutors introduced testimony and recorded where you could see this person's face, hear this person's voice, testimony, and a recorded interview from Tyler Robinson's former roommate, which other people that are wanting to push different agendas on you, like the Candyland cult, and we'll talk about all this later, honestly saying that on a very recent 2 weeks ago, on a podcast that she was on as a guest, saying, hey, they've never even interviewed Lance Twiggs. Well, you're wrong again. You're wrong again. Anyway, that was a waking moment. I'm sure it was very hard to watch from the family. I've sat in the courtroom, okay, with a family member that was brutally murdered. I understand all of this. It sucks, okay? And the roommate who said, quote, Tyler Robinson admitted responsibility after the shooting, and he expressed regret and said, hey, I wish I hadn't have done that. The roommate, Lance Twiggs, testified this under oath, of course, and under a slightly immunity agreement. Now, we can argue about that. I'm not usually cool with that, but we can argue about that. Also, people say these are fake and so on and so on. You know, I disagree with them. I disagree with them after watching what the prosecutors have, okay? I disagree. I mean, they had the confession evidence. They also presented all the text messages, the Discord messages, which is a gaming app. A lot of weird people use that. And piles of evidence about admissions of guilt. The defense, on the other hand, for Mr. Robinson, argues that some of this evidence should be very, very limited because it could obviously taint the jurors. But let's just say this. This guy turned himself in. Now that we've seen all these videos of him going back and forth to the campus 4 or 5 times in his vehicle with his license plate number, with surveillance cameras. Also, when he turned himself into the police, he was still wearing the same maroon shirt, the same Converse style shoes, etc., so on. And the investigators showed surveillance footage that they say tracks him all the way through the day and the evening. And before and after the shooting near the event, Charlie Kirk was killed. Also, the note now, which we, as the public, were not supposed to see any part of the note. Some of it got leaked when they were trying to move the camera in the courtroom, where Mr. Robinson, again, apologizing, confessing. In all these text messages, he was walking Lance Twiggs through his day and evening, admitting to everything. Okay. And of course, the defense attorneys, which all people deserve a defense, were questioning the reliability of forensic evidence, arguing that ballistic testing did not conclusively match. That's true, but not really. The DNA evidence, which is whatever she said, point something one out of a trillion, is insane. Now, in my personal opinion, let's back up and switch it over to personal opinion. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, urged the court early on and has been doing so and did so this week in the preliminary hearing through her own attorney to release as much evidence possible to counter all of this insanity misinformation surrounding the freaking case, the Candylands, the wishy-washy Megyn Kellys, and so on, and the Ian Carroll, and all these people, Ryan, whatever his name is. And the judge allowed some of the evidence to be shown publicly, but ordered portions of that recorded interview to be redacted. I don't agree with that. If you're going to be transparent, put it all out. Everything. The political motive was brought up. And it's actually true. If you read through Tyler Robinson's life, prosecutors contend that the killing was potentially motivated and are relying on allegations, as one of them being an aggregated factor supporting their pursuit of the death penalty, which is the political religion type whatever motive. What's next for this trial? And then we're going to talk about some other things to do with the Charlie Kirk preliminary trial this week. Well, what's next is Judge Tony Graff is expected to review the evidence and written arguments before deciding whether there's obviously probable cause, which is piled and piles and piles of it, to bind it over to trial. The decision is expected by September 1. That's crazy. That's insane. It is taking right at a year, ladies and gentlemen, to even bind it over to trial for probable cause. The case will then proceed to full criminal trial, which could be God knows when. We've already seen the defense lawyers. We've already seen them object to. There was one day on the trial where they actually rejected to every single, and then they had an outstanding objection to every single piece of evidence. Objected every single piece of evidence. It's insane. It is very, very, very insane. And I don't know how you feel about this. We're going to be talking about it more in detail. We're going to be talking about some other top stories that are very, very important. So you definitely want to listen to that. And get ready, Madison, Mississippi, this Saturday, which is actually tomorrow, July 11th, 2026. It is the United against, everybody's united against fentanyl. And it's the Walk for Lives Spring and Family event to the Madison Liberty Park from 10 a.m. start time. And going to be free music, bouncy houses, snow cones for kids, door prizes, gift cards, Shapley's guided fishing trip, all kind of stuff. Cypress Point lunch and Safari Park Pass. Cypress Point will have giveaways there as well, which they're obviously one of my sponsors. Incredible food trucks, stories, entertainment, so on and so on. Listen, this person, one of these people responsible for helping put together this is a very great friend of mine, Renee, who unfortunately lost her son to the destruction. I like to call it destruction because it does destruct your entire life, whether you unfortunately pass away or not, due to fentanyl poisoning. Okay, this is a poison, y'all. It will be in drugs that you don't even realize it's in. Okay. They will have the opportunity on Saturday, and you will too, to honor those that we lost due to fentanyl poisoning, as well as those we love in recovery from that horrible poison. Okay, that's very true. Anyway, it's just horrible. It's hard for me to talk about these kind of things because these are all personal people I know and situations they've been through. Registration for the drawing is at 9:30 a.m. Oh yeah, let me tell you where this is. This is at Liberty Park in Madison, Mississippi. If you don't know where that is, easy to find, but you can just look that up. It's so easy to find. At Liberty Park in Madison, the city of Madison, that's in Mississippi. The generous sponsors, including Unitech Global, United Against Fentanyl, Madison, the city, Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services, Next Home Coordinates Realty, LaCroix Residential Property Management, and a whole bunch more, y'all. A whole bunch more. Could be a lot of speakers, Buddy Fortner, Mike Kanoy, Colonel Stephen Maxwell, Director of Corrections of Mississippi, formerly with the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, Brenda Foster, the list goes on, Kim Johnson, Renee Clements, which is the mother of Mason's story. That's what we were talking about earlier, Mason's story. She was going to be on this morning, and I haven't gotten back with her, but we will have her on for a complete podcast soon, the full story. Brian Knox, also a recovery speaker. Again, this is tomorrow now because today is July 10th. This Saturday, July 11th, 10 to 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 100 Liberty Park Drive, Madison, Mississippi, 39110. Liberty Park. So you want to check that out for sure. Definitely want to check that out for sure. We're going to be right back with you on this Friday, Freedom Friday, July 10th, 2026.
Fire! You are listening to WPBP 104.3 FM, The Pirate, Pearl, Mississippi.
Every program in the Next ecosystem is designed to meet people where they are and take them where they want to go, in technology and in life. Mississippi Coding Academies is a nonprofit that bridges the digital divide, delivering accessible, affordable, and life-changing technology education across the globe. Funded by grants and donations that are truly making an impact at home and abroad. Learn coding, cybersecurity, and so much more with locations around the state of Mississippi. Go to mscoding.org today and go to your next level.
Support for these programs comes from Electrical Solutions and Services in Pearl, Mississippi, providing licensed electrical contracting services throughout Mississippi for commercial, industrial, and residential projects. Also installations, system upgrades, troubleshooting, and emergency electrical repairs. As certified installers for Tesla, charging systems, and a certified dealer for Generac backup power solutions, their team delivers safe, code-compliant workmanship with a commitment to precision and integrity. They are veteran-owned. Their phone number is 769-572-7597.
Welcome back to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. And yes, he's still unapologetic.
Welcome back, 7:01 a.m., Friday, July 10th, 2026. My name is Daryl Arnold. You've tuned into the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. Also, my new website where you can connect to all podcasts, YouTube, etc. is darylarnold.us. All things Daryl. darylarnold.us. Convenient, easy to remember. I love it. It's incredible. It's taking a minute to get it going, but, we're there. Good morning, Angie Dennison, Magnolia Myra in the house, Chris Martin, Angela Dennison Jones, what's happening? Russell McGee, what's happening? Stephen SRS, what's going on? Joe Davison, have a great weekend. I'm in the funeral business and unfortunately buried 9 young people due to fentanyl poisoning from just smoking weed. That's all. But that weed was poisoned with fentanyl. He said, I quote, honestly believe that closing the border, which I believe that too, has helped big time with the fentanyl distribution. Believe it's still out there, but it did help some. Yes, it did. Good morning again to Russell that just checked in again from the band Hurricane in the house. So again, I haven't spoke out this whole time on this whole Charlie Kirk phenomenon, but it's just horrible. And the Candyland, Cuckoo Candy, Candace Owens cult. They have gone after this woman, her family, her business. I'm going to be very upset if this Candyland doesn't get sued. Because it's ridiculous at this point. Okay? The DNA, back to the case, the DNA and Lance Twigg strengthened the case to the max. It's just the truth. In the last couple of days, the DNA evidence, centered around Tyler Robinson to all the key items, Lance Twiggs' recorded testimony, devastating for the defense. Devastating once that video was shown. Here's colleagues discussing a little bit of it.
Rifle, the cartridges, and Dremel tool all positively matched to Tyler Robinson. Okay. Twiggs, Lance Twiggs, referred to as Luna, I believe, by Tyler Robinson. Video testimony, and it was devastating, honestly, for the defense. It contains an admission of guilt and much, much more. Timelines established. The defense attorney, what was his name?
Michael Burt, I believe.
Burt, who, did you say he
was once a defense attorney far back in the day for the Lyle Menendez. That's the Menendez brothers. Some of you older viewers may remember.
Yeah, they killed their parents. So that's his people know him from that case.
And he successfully got a mistrial on the first go-round of that case.
So this guy attacks, a completely inappropriate attack, targeting of the Kirk family for wanting to see the enhanced video of Tyler Robinson on campus. Remember, there was that back and forth in day 2 that bled into day 3. And they wanted to see the enhanced version. And we call it the John Madden style version, where they zoom in, they circle it. They want to see that. And then this Michael Burt guy just starts lobbing a bunch of misrepresentations about the Kirk family, about Erica. We're going to get into that. Jeff Nyman, total hero today, by the way. He successfully argued on behalf of the Kirk family to get the Twiggs video, much of it restored, a pretty massive reversal from the original ruling last night.
Yep, good. Of course, the defense lawyer does not want that in. There's so much overwhelming evidence at this point, though, that it's beyond evidence. Beyond evidence at this point. The strength in this case is probably one of the more that I've ever seen publicly as far as evidence goes. But you still have all the haters. You still have all the grifters. You still have all the wannabe people trying to get clicks for money while trashing the name of the Kirk family. Okay, you're welcome to have opinions, but that, in my opinion, that doesn't give you the right to trash a woman and her 2 young children and that gentleman's parents, which is Charlie Kirk's parents, sitting in that courtroom every day. I've been there. I've been there when somebody murdered my family member. Okay? You don't want to be there. But you definitely don't want to be there when somebody's been trashing you. Okay? Not at all. You do not want to be there. So as we move on discussing this, because again, I have not discussed this. It's been over 300 days now since the horrific event happened in Utah on September 10th of 2025. The day before 9/11. Never forget. We'll never forget where we were on that day, just like we won't forget where we were on September 11th if you were born. You won't. And I won't either.
reporter, when they got to the point discussing the rifle that was used, Tyler Robinson was squirming, apparently uncomfortable, swinging in his chair, scratching his nose. He looked uncomfortable with the texts that were being discussed. Also, Erica Kirk was looking down, leaning forward, not looking at the screen showing those texts. Our reporter also said Erica was audibly crying throughout the proceeding today. When they got to the part about Lance was, when he was asking Tyler about the rifle and for hunting, that very graphic detail about the nature of the gun that Robinson said did well in the killing. That is when Tyler Robinson's mom started crying and wiping her eyes. Charlie Kirk's mother had her hand on Erica's upper arm and shoulder, and they were both tearful today. After showing the Discord chat logs, the prosecution also put the note from Tyler Robinson on the screen. That's the handwritten note that's been discussed that Tyler Robinson left for his lover. Our reporter inside of the courtroom says it was a very lengthy, full-page handwritten note, Trace.
Yeah, Matt Finn, back to you as the news warrants. Thank you. Meantime,
we have another day for them to wrap this up for review, like we talked about earlier. But these people who have been systematically dogging out, taking advantage of a woman that they have no proof, by the way, none at all. Even the Candyland cult, Candace Owens, who claims she has all this proof, it's pie in the face moment for her. It should be worse, and it could be, maybe. It could be. But why in the hell in a preliminary trial, a pre-trial, because it's not a trial, does the family have to go through all this hell? It's a good question. Lance Twiggs, in my opinion, knows what's at risk. The authorities have treated him as a, quote, cooperating witness, end quote. He received limited, very limited probably, and I don't know this for fact, but he did receive, according to the court records, limited immunity for statements and providing the text, the notes, the phone with the broken glass, the identification in the photos, the identification in the videos, so on and so on. So on and so on. I do really hope that we get relief for the family. That's what I hope. Who have been targeted by grifter podcasters for clicks. Okay? No different than the freaking National Enquirer that used to just make up crap before there was social media. No difference at all. I wonder why the defense team in the Tyler Robinson case is not consulting Candyland Candace or calling her as an expert witness. Yeah, right. That was a text message. Yeah, I wonder that too. Right. She professes that she's the best in her mind anyway, right? That's a complete narcissist. That is a complete narcissist. And then, of course, you have Megyn Kelly, who changes on a whatever's popular that month. She'll change her whole. So I've been done with her. But Candace is just awful. Erica Kirk didn't turn her into an awful person. Candace was an awful person. It's just true, y'all. absolutely true. And all of those arguments that I had to sit through and listen to, all those fake stories, which I mean, I didn't personally listen to them, but that a lot of the public fell for, have it's just been crazy. And finally, we have photographic evidence. This is, you need to rewind this a couple of times if you're listening to the podcast. Finally, we have photographic evidence of the rounds. Not only the casing, but the rounds. Not only the rounds, but what was engraved on it, which is a sick, twisted, insane, crazy ass person that allegedly Tyler Robinson used soft point ammunition. Soft point. It's going to be key, but that's what's in there. Also known as, quote, expanded jacketed rounds, end quote. They are quite literally designed to expand on entry. Okay? That's what they're designed for. Here's somebody that knows more about me than that. That we got this exclusive, by the way.
We have actual new information that confirms the type of bullet that was used to kill Charlie Kirk, the one that was found in Tyler Robinson's rifle. Remember, that had his DNA on it. The rounds had his DNA on it. And the bullet that was found in Charlie Kirk's neck was an expanding or potentially frangible round. Now, these are the ones that he was engraving. I want you to look right here where my finger is. That is, without question, a soft point round or an expanding jacketed round, right? Not the exact same thing as a frangible round, but behaves very similarly a lot of the time. So these are designed to expand on impact, open up, and when they hit things like bone, they break apart, right? This basically is not necessarily new information, but it's confirmation of information that we already have. And this is stuff that a lot of people online, they see a video of one of these that's going into like some ballistics gel, and they're like, see, right? That's not a true accurate representation of the human body because there's no vertebrae in there. There's no muscle tissue, blood, what have you. So what this will do to a piece of ballistics gel is make it look like it explodes as opposed to a human body. There's also people that are shooting freaking like cast iron plates with full metal jacket rounds. It's just not a one-to-one comparison, right? So again, right, soft point bullet, expanding jacket round lines up with what we're seeing with the medical examiner's report, with the actual video, right? Where very heavy kinetic energy that you can see in the video, right? That's what an expanding round would do. A full metal jacket might have just zipped right through, and this did not. So again, not new information, confirmation of what we already knew or what we assumed.
That's from the Misfit Patriot. He's a proud patriot, and he's over on X in San Antonio, Texas. He's he likes to say that he's hated by the right people, not the wrong people. He has a podcast himself called The Daily Breakdown. You should check that out. All right, so it's on Rumble. As we move on, y'all, of course we have evidence galore. I mean, big time. Nailed it. That guy nailed it. This is just the way it works, y'all. This is the way it works. People who have been around this, not the people on, the interweb, not the so-called investigators who are sitting on their couch playing video games and eating popcorn. Seriously. Anyway. Just is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. The Candy Carol, Candyland cult conspiracy folks are getting destroyed, and that's the end of it. I don't care what you think. You can have your opinion just like I can have mine. Sorry. Not everything is a conspiracy. You know what? Sometimes people are crazy and they get up and they go, unfortunately, murder someone. They just do. It's really outrageous, but it is really the truth. It is really outrageous, but it is really the absolute truth. In the courtroom, going back. Here's some text messages exchanges, okay? Listen closely to these. And no, they can't be faked. And no, the phone was taken apart by 3 different agencies. You think all the agencies are in on it? No, they're not. One, maybe. But not the regular people. Here's 2 minutes for you. Pay close attention. Then we're going to break.
You're doing, look under your keyboard.
And I apologize. Let me stop you there. How do you know that that message would have been from Tyler Robinson?
That's just, so any of the messages in gray would be from Tyler, and messages in blue would be from Lance. With iPhone, distinguishes the messages. And also Lance in his interview also acknowledges that, who was saying what.
And up at the top, who do we see that this thread is between?
Tyler.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you. So read that again, starting from look under the keyboard.
So after that, then Lance responds. He says, "What?" And then he says, "You're joking, right?" And then Tyler says, "Fuck, I tried to delete that."
We could scroll down to page 2. And if you can continue reading along.
Okay. Then Tyler says, "I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." And then Lance replies, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" And Tyler says, "I am, I'm sorry." Lance says, "I thought they caught the person." And then Tyler says, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering."
Yeah, this guy's cooked. This guy's cooked, y'all. Wake up. Wake up. David Hall just texted me. "Good morning, Daryl. Did you notice that all of the grifters that were trying to spread ridiculous conspiracy theories about the case are now clutching and grasping at straws because their narratives have been shattered?" Yes, they have. Find that absolutely amusing. So do I. Thanks for the text, David. So true. Some of us already knew, or at least we had a feeling, that these people weren't just going to go to court. They weren't just going to go in this with this important person, Charlie Kirk. Honestly, very important to the culture and everything else. I was actually a big fan of Charlie Kirk. If you don't like it, sorry. That's where this freedom hat that I'm wearing came from. Okay? Anyway. But Candace is already up early, melting down again online. Saint Michael, the archangel, defends us in this battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and the snares of the devil. Cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking to ruin the souls. Somebody needs to check on this lady. I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, but she is apparently, like I've said for a long time, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay? Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The 10 months, still Candace Owens and others, not just Candace, still have zero evidence to push back against the, quote, real receipts coming out in the Charlie Kirk's assassination preliminary trial. She just says, fed slop, fed slop, fed slop. That's all we've heard from Candyland. Yeah, well, all her candy slop can't hang with the actual evidence dropping. Okay? Candace wants us not to believe our own eyes. That's ridiculous. But true. All of them dressed up like the real Slim Shady. Please stand up. Tyler Robinson wasn't there. That's what Candace Owens says. And of course, Tyler Robinson is allegedly right now. He is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Of course, we know that. And we will say that on this show, as we should, about anyone. About anyone. 26 minutes after the hour, Friday, July 10th. This is Freedom Friday, y'all. My name is Daryl Arnold, Unleash Media, and Talk with Daryl Arnold. Be right back.
Don't forget to check out Cypress Point Resort. Memories are made at Cypress Point. Close to home, yet it feels miles away. At Cypress Point, you can truly get away from it all. You can step back to a simpler time, yet enjoy all the amenities of today. Cameron's Garage is a sports bar and music venue. There's a lunch buffet every day inside Cypress Point. They also have a steakhouse and the Tavern. The Tavern is a quaint little place with live music Wednesday through Saturday. And of course, you've got the Safari Park and Petting Zoo. Don't forget about all the event halls, including the Wedding Chapel and so much more. That's Cypress Point Resort, located at 874 Hollybush Road, Brandon, Mississippi. Contact them at 601-829-1101 or at cypresspointms.com.
We all make promises, big and small.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I do solemnly swear
to help you when you're in need,
to be considerate and caring, to be your loving, faithful friend,
partner,
child, parent, neighbor.
One of our most important commitments is to support our nation's veterans. Learn how you can help a veteran going through a difficult time by visiting maketheconnection.net.
Every program in the Next ecosystem is designed to meet people where they are and take them where they want to go, in technology and in life. Mississippi Coding Academies is a nonprofit that bridges the digital divide, delivering accessible, affordable, and life-changing technology education across the globe. Funded by grants and donations that are truly making an impact at home and abroad. Learn coding, cybersecurity, and so much more with locations around the state of Mississippi. Go to mscoding.org today. and go to your next level.
Welcome back to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. And yes, he's still unapologetic.
Bottom of the hour, 7:28 exactly a.m. 7:29 now. It is Friday, July 10th, 2026. My name is Daryl Arnold. Thanks for joining. We have been holding back for a little bit over 300 days on the Charlie Kirk case. You know, I hate to break it to all you guys, but from all the evidence that's out, Charlie Kirk was definitely assassinated by a leftist propaganda machine in love with a trans individual, allegedly. Okay? It's just true. Also, Candace Owens, in my opinion, and we all have opinions, is nothing but a small-time con artist who got elevated, you know, through her talent early on, because she was very talented. She's very talented. From Prager University to Daily Wire to Turning Point USA. Do you really think she cares what happens at this point to the Kirk family? Obviously, no. She cares about being the, quote, #1 podcast, stacking wealth, power through her own media empire, so her and her husband can step on out, do whatever it is they're going to do. It's been the plan all along, y'all. So many people fell for it. But it's not too late to get ahead of the curve and exit. Hashtag walk away. Hashtag walk away, y'all. Have some dignity intact. Truth over tribalism. Mind over manipulation, y'all. And Christ over clout, or whatever she calls receipts. Whatever she calls receipts. So this is going to sound weird on the audio, so let me explain to you what's happening. Candace Owens was on the Sean Ryan podcast about 10 days ago-ish, a couple of weeks ago. And she said that any form of police, agency, etc. Well, first she said Tyler Robinson wasn't even there, which that's been debunked to hell and back now with all the different locations. They got him on camera. They got him on video. They have it together. And she never knew that. Apparently they hid it from her, which is fantastic, because she would have ran with more dis and misinformation. But you know, they put together a compilation on one of the social medias that he wasn't, Lance Twiggs wasn't even investigated. And then somebody has put, right after she said that, somebody has spliced in the truth right after it. So nothing but lies, in other words, nothing but lies.
Some weird stuff online. That's the easiest way for the feds to blackmail someone. I think his roommate is a federal asset, Lance Twiggs.
This meeting is to use your statement here instead of your testimony at a preliminary hearing. Understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
because the police didn't even question him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you an admonition about false statements. Okay. First,
which is bonkers.
Okay. First, you do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
Lance Twiggs. I spoke to Lance Twiggs.
I also need to notify you that you are notified the statements you are about to make may be presented to a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement.
His family. And they think he's involved.
Any false statement you make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. Understand that?
Yes.
Potentially.
Nonsense. Everything she said debunked in live time, ladies and gentlemen. Live time. Live time. All she has to say about all this is you're just listening to the Zionist influencers and hoping that you can simply hypnotize the public into trusting blurry images and videos. They're not that damn blurry, okay? Because I don't have the greatest vision. They're not that blurry. It's a quote, open and shut case pretty freaking much. Pretty much, y'all. Good God. Leave this family alone. Leave this family alone. Here's a new update. Where in the hell is Mitch McConnell? Getting off the Charlie Kirk subject for now. But I also want to let you guys know that I may or may not bring that stuff back up because I have been on that trial or on that preliminary hearing every day, watching, listening closely, phenomenal information. But right now, let's update footage confirming Senator Mitch McConnell was loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher when he was initially transported, quote, to the hospital, according to CNN. Now, EMS audio recordings found an unknown person was unconscious due to cardiac arrest with CPR in progress. So, where the hell is Mitch? Is this purposely being done so we can't get the Save America passed and so many other things? Probably so. Probably so, y'all. Probably so. But here's live footage now. An exclusive video.
Not riding with him.
So what's really going on? And then the CCP style lady that he's married to going straight over to China. A couple of days after that. Come on, y'all. Come on. What is really going on? Where is Mitch McConnell? We asked this many days ago, and we're still asking this. Where is McConnell? I don't know. That's a very good question, though. Very good. Because it's important to know, y'all, that even though Mitch McConnell retired, he is still, until November, until the midterms, it still takes him as the representative for Kentucky. So this is serious business, y'all. Really. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Mark Meckler, who I've met a couple of times because of Convention of States, which is a wonderful movement that I've always been involved with because it focuses on term limits. It focuses on having a convention of states and getting enough states to where we have, obviously, not just term limits, but other things, but mainly focuses on term limits. Okay? Now, Mark Meckler was also a politician. He's from Texas. Great guy. Really great guy, actually. But he even talks about the nonsense, because he's known Candace since she literally left the, quote, Democrat Party, or at least she claimed that, as a child. And as a child, she looked like a child, acted like a child, but very smart, actually. Very smart. But Mark Meckler has been talking about this, and the Cancer Owens statement, also known as the Candace Owens.
What she is good at is transitioning. Yes. From one thing to the next. You know, one of the first things that I addressed was, you know, the French Foreign Legion were involved, and of course we had to have one Israeli something in there.
There's an
like
Israeli agent in there working with the French Foreign Legion.
And she had all
the
this
French Foreign
evidence.
Legion and just one Jew.
Yeah. There's always at least one Jew.
It was Alfred Dreyfus. Sorry.
It was a kosher croissant. But yeah, so, you know, she lays this out, and like always, what we're getting is anonymous sources providing unverifiable information. That is the crux of what she does. And, you know, she lays this out. I have so much evidence of this. I can't show it to you. All this secret knowledge. But let me tell you something. What is happening here is the Macrons decided they were going to kill Charlie because they were so worried about me highlighting the fact, or bringing the fact that, you know, unfortunately Brigitte has a penis. Like, that's what they were worried about. So that's what they had to do. And then it just kind of fades away. But before that, now we have a $1.5 million hit out on Candace, and they're going to kill her. She's so concerned about it that she leaves directly from the studio to go to Dollywood. And I don't know if they got their money back. I don't know how that works. But then we just move into something else. And like what happened to that? Like, that is quite the extremely sophisticated plot that you laid out. And then how does the U.S. Did we just allow that? And of course we get the Egyptian planes. Like, reconcile all of this for me. And there's no need to. And it's one thing for Candace to do it, but it is disappointing to watch that so many Americans fall for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Mark Meckler was on that show, but that was him speaking on that, just for notation. But that was the tactical Green Beret warrior, Gary Melton. He knows a lot more about weapons and etc. than Candace Owens could even imagine in her mind. But anyway, Tyler Robinson, of course, I'll say this one more time, allegedly committed this. In my opinion, the Candyland cult people are insane, and everybody knows it at this point, so I'm not sure why people are still following her unless they're just, you know, trying to rub it in how wrong she was, or how ugly and how nasty and how evil it is to take advantage of a family going through something like that. Imagine being fooled by Candace Owens and believing all the lies she told. Okay? Imagine. I just don't, you know. It's a new insanity alert that we've been screaming on this show, even though I try not to talk about Candace. People do have freedom. They do have free speech. But hers has gone a little bit beyond insanity to me. And again, that's my opinion. This is my show. Period. This is Friday, July 10th, 2026. And that's just the way I feel about it, period. You can have your feelings and I can have mine. Here's another one for you. And then we're going to move on. But this is a very important one for me, actually. Okay. For me. Talking about the actual ballistics, okay, in the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing aren't as simple as, Candace Owens and all the people that she had on there and the cuckoos that think they're professionals shooting things into jail, into ballistic jail. Ballistic jail. And I mean GEL.
Of last year, after all of this happened, and I had to explain to him that ballistics gel and human flesh are not, in fact, the same thing. They don't work even remotely close. And this was after listening to 30 minutes worth of his explanation, on why he knows it couldn't have possibly been a 30-06. And he even broke it down to the angle, of attack or the flight path that the projectile would have been traveling on.
Right.
And then I asked him, I was like, do you know the angle that Charlie was actually sitting at? And further, did you account for the angles with his neck? Because all of those account for the angle of entry of the actual projectile that goes in there. You don't know the projectile that was actually used, i.e. what ball, if you will, was being shot out of that rifle. You don't know if it was designed to mushroom out, if it was FMJ, and if it wasn't FMJ, what type. You don't know the condition of the bore. You don't know the condition of the chamber. You don't even know the condition of the riflings. You don't know if that freaking projectile was tumbling 30 feet out the muzzle. So you can't sit here and then complain about this and say that absolutely in no way, shape, or form. And then when it goes down to the terminal ballistics of what actually happens and how it actually happens is one of the biggest, it's not even a conspiracy. It's silly at this point for people to be arguing it. And the example I gave Chris was I told Chris, I was like, look, a 124 grain 9mm Hydroshock round travels through approximately 12 inches of ballistics gel. On average, 12 to 15 inches, somewhere in there, rests inside of a block ballistics gel. I've seen that round go into a man's face and not exit the back of his head. Didn't bulge out his eyeball, didn't bulge out the back of his head, didn't do anything crazy, just went right in through his cheekbone and got lodged in there somewhere and dropped him. So don't compare ballistics gel to how many inches of human flesh, because the terminal ballistics are actually what does that. Even when people take meat and they go and they hang meat, what do we know about fluid dynamics? What do we know specifically about fluid dynamics? What's missing out of all of these meat experiments that people are running is fluid.
Yeah. Yes, people. Too many internet sleuths or too many narcissists that just stand on one thing and are not open for things being actually the way it really happened. The way it really happened. The evidence is outrageously strong for the defense. For the prosecutors, not the defense. The defense has their job cut out for them. But this, in fact, is one of the most brutal smackdowns that we've ever come across in the history of a, quote, out front assassination of a very popular person. Okay. This person sent this out. Hello, Mrs. Owens. You told millions of people that Tyler Robinson wasn't even there. That you felt confident stating that Tyler Robinson did not assassinate Charlie Kirk. He was on camera on the Losi rooftop at 12:22, shot at 12:23, DNA on the screwdriver at 30 quintillion to 1, DNA on the rifle at 1.7 octillion to 1, He told his family what he did. His parents helped him surrender. He texted his roommate, "I am sorry." He engraved, "Hey, fascist, catch," on the ammunition a month before he used it, or 3 weeks before he used it. You said police didn't even question Lance Twiggs. He was interviewed twice by the FBI the morning after and a joint state-federal team 7 months later. His own attorney volunteer, interview. You laughed about that. You laughed about that, Miss Owens. You told Sean Ryan a shaped charge killed Charlie. That there was Patton, as you call it, Patton is Patton, but you call it Patton, was in the microphone. The medical examiner says a gunshot wound. The top level medical examiners. Bullet fragments were recovered, of course, in the autopsy and from his body. 30-06 Miser soft. With Robinson's DNA on it. Go figure. It's also found in the woods with DNA. Neither side, not the prosecution or the defense, has ever once mentioned a darn explosive in the microphone. Not one time. He also said that the shot came from below. The Losi building is above the amphitheater. You call Erica Kirk a clinical psychopath to an audience of millions and millions. You said that the assassination was an occult ritual. You said Charlie was sitting in a pentagram. You told people Israel killed him because he refused Netanyahu. You made over 100 episodes, and in the podcasting world, that's a lot. You built a huge HUGE franchise on a assassinated man. That's so sad. And the hardest fact of all, Tyler Robinson's own defense lawyers, the people whose entire career is on the line, you have now said that you would help them. That you would help them. But they have refused to make one single one of your arguments. Not one. As this person says, I will say I feel the same way. Charlie Kirk changed our lives. He platformed the work when nobody knew who it was or who I was or anybody else. So, you know what? We have watched every transcript. We've watched every hour of testimony. We've cataloged Candace Owens' claims. Every single one of them has failed, Joel. Every single one of them has failed. So we're not sure exactly why you did this. And every day another sworn testimony came through, testing Candace Owens and others, not just Candace, reality, under oath, on the record, where it actually counts, not on the freaking internet. There was also numerous people that celebrated, of course, the progressive far left lunatics, socialist, communist, that monetized off him. It's not just Candace Owens, of course not. Absolutely not. And we're not blaming everything on Candace. But Candace and her followers, in my opinion, are bat crazy. They just are. And I get to have that opinion. Not just on Freedom Friday, because today is Freedom Friday, but on any Friday, on any Monday through Sunday. Any Monday through Sunday. I also get to think in my mind that the candy cult, Candace Owens, her personally, narcissist, sociopath, void of real feelings. Her world is crashing now. See what happens. We will see what happens. Let's end on a different note, which is this. We got a big weekend coming up. It's always a great weekend. We talked about the fentanyl, the Madison, Mississippi Liberty Park coming up on Saturday, which is tomorrow, 10 to 2 p.m. Show up for the walk. There's also all kind of family events, speakers regarding the horrible poison, also known as fentanyl. I invite you to get behind that. I invite you to get behind any positive situation. I just, in fact, do. I really do. We're being honest here. Tonight's Friday, y'all. Jason Stogner Band, the full band, will be at Cameron's Garage tonight. You don't want to miss the Jason Stogner Band. Tomorrow night at Cameron's Garage, it is Lariat, the band. Actually, one of the favorites around there as Lariat. And on Sunday, it's line dancing. The lesson start at 5. The dancing is at 6, but you can come on whatever time you get ready. It is Magnolia Myra and the crew bringing line dancing back to Cameron's Garage this Sunday. July 12th. And also, we have fantastic things going on in the tavern as well. We have the weekend specials on food. We have Chris Anderson from the band Good Hope performing in the tavern on tonight, which is Friday night. Man, that guy's fantastic too. If you haven't seen Chris, or Saturday night, we have Fisher Hester in the tavern. Amazing. Both of these gentlemen. And then, of course, Sunday, like I said, line dancing will be going down. And let's go ahead and mention this again because we need to continue to talk about it. The VIP tables are going fast. And also, if you don't want to be at a VIP table, save a couple of bucks and get your tickets now. It's Freedom Friday. All you got to do is go to cypresspointms.com, cypresspointms.com. Click on events. You will see the reunion, Crossing Dixon, August 7th. And the boys, the Stevens brothers, will be opening that show starting around 5:30 p.m. August 7th, followed by the reunion, big time, Crossing Dixon, August 7th, performing at Cameron's Garage at Cypress Point, 874 Holly Bush Road. And that, of course, is Brandon, Mississippi. Yes, it is. Man, we've had so many questions today. Thanks for everybody getting involved with this conversation regarding Charlie Kirk. This is the first and maybe the only, I don't know that for sure, but maybe the only time I don't know. I really don't know. We shall see. My name is Daryl Arnold. I am going to leave you with a fantastic, positive message. I hope you listen to the whole thing. And I will be back on Monday. Again, the show is called Unleash Media and Talk with Daryl Arnold. Have a great weekend. See ya.
Statistically impossible thing that has ever happened. To get you, every single one of your ancestors had to not die in the harshest environments, reproduce in an unbroken chain of over 150,000 generations. One break in the chain and you're not here. The odds of that happening are 1 in 10 to the 45,000th power, a number that your brain literally cannot process. Now, your parents had a 1 in 20,000 chance of ever meeting. Then on top of that, 400 quadrillion sperm and only one fertilized, one egg that became you. The odds of that are 1 in 10 to the 2.6 millionth power. To compare, in the entire universe, there's only 10 to the 80th power atoms in the entire known universe. So stop looking for all the shit that is wrong in your life and start being grateful for the statistically impossible miracle that is you. Because just as Einstein said, there's only 2 ways to view your life. One is as if nothing is a miracle, and the other is if everything is a miracle.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic, guys. And again, like I said earlier, have a great weekend. My name is Daryl Arnold. See ya.
Thank you all for tuning in. Hashtag unfiltered, hashtag unapologetic, America First Talk at its best. Where we party the right way. See you next time, or else.
Goal that I wanted to achieve from the very beginning. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. I wasn't sure if I could do it. It was very hard for me, but the teacher